Oh, Matt says he's on the phone.
He's probably the phone number that we don't recognize. Let's do that.
I can probably tell you that in 1 minute. 378-3589.
That's him.
That's
So
Matt
he is
Raish. That's Matt Raish. Yes.
Okay. So Matt is on. If he unmutes himself, he'll be all set. You're all set, Dave.
All right, meeting call to order. Today is Tuesday, January 12th. It is now 6:07 p.m. Town Council meeting via Zoom.
We do an executive session first, correct?
No.
No.
No? All right. Councilman Licciardi,
Here.
Councilman Messier,
Here.
Councilwoman Williamson,
Here.
Council Vice President D'Amico,
Here.
Council President Goslin. There's a quorum on record. Appointments to the Charter Review Commission. Result of that the Town Council hereby appoints the following individuals to the West Warwick Charter Review Commission.
Just want to state for the record, I received a text message from Ed Giroux. You can withdraw his name, please. So that's Ed Giroux withdrew his name. So right now, just for the record, we have 12 individuals that have put their names forward to be on the committee. And we can, correct me if I'm wrong, Solicitor, it's 9 that we can appoint and no more than 50% from one party.
No, you can only have 5
5.
from one
Right.
party. You can only have 9 pursuant to the charter, and you can have no, if there's anybody that is currently on the zoning board of review by charter, section 1606, they are prohibited from being, holding any other office while they're in the service of the town on the zoning board.
So actually, that does affect 2 individuals that are on the list.
Which 2?
It affects Richard Banks and Alan Horak. They are both on the zoning board of review.
So that leaves us with 1 Republican.
I don't know, is Dave Gapo a Republican?
No, he's
Un-
unaffiliated.
Unaffiliated.
The only Republican then would be Chris Boucher.
Yes.
That leaves us 10.
Right, Banks, Horak, and Giroux would be off the list.
So right now we have the names of Christopher Messier, Felix Apollonia, Christopher Black, Jack Lancelota, David Gapo, Frank Flynn, and Matt Raish. Did I miss anybody?
Yeah.
Mary Bergeron.
Oh,
Mary
Flynn.
Bergeron. Yeah. Mark Baker, Chris Messier. Yeah. That's a
Yeah,
lot
my-
of people.
Correct me, Tim. What does the breakdown have to be as far as Republicans and Democrats?
No, it's not,
Exactly.
It's not Republican and Democrats. You can only have 5 of one party.
Okay.
So you can have, if, depending on the number of parties involved, unaffiliateds obviously don't count. So if the entire 9-member board was unaffiliated, that's, you just can't have 6 Republicans, or you can't have 6 Democrats, or 6 cool moose, or.
So I just want to point out we have 5 Democrats, 1 Republican, and 4 unaffiliated. So there's your 10. So
We need 9.
We need 9. So of course it's going to be a pickle, right? I'll give you my personal opinion, and then you guys can go from there. I highly recommend both party chairs being on this committee, and that would be Felix Apollonia, Democrat, Christopher Boucher as a Republican. I'm correct. He's still the Republican chairman.
I would agree that they're both on or they're both off. You couldn't, wouldn't be any other way to do it, I wouldn't think.
Yeah. That's my opinion of those two, and from there, I know some of you brought your names forward, so if you want to go, your 2 cents. Everybody I moved forward actually withdrew. You guys, I know some of you brought your own names forward, and we can talk about it.
And I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, we said that there's no alternative, there's no like alternate members, right? We just select a 9 and that's it.
Yeah.
I mean,
I-
in
go
theory, though,
ahead.
we could end up, in theory, I mean, it's a safe bet that it's at some point, and I don't mean this to be negative, that's a chance that somebody, for whatever reason, may not be able to do it. So I feel like even if the one person that gets left off this should stay involved, because there's a very good chance that we may end up needing them. You never know what's going to happen.
If I may, you can have 9 appointed, and in the event someone has to step down for whatever reason, you can fill that position. You're not prohibited from doing that. The council, excuse me, the charter is clear that the council can select 9. If you would like to debate having an alternate, I'm sure that would lead to some interesting conversation, but the charter is silent as it relates to any type of alternate or any other member besides a full-time member or a full member.
I would, I would actually suggest that Richard Banks and Alan Horak be continued or be involved, even though technically they can't be on the committee. Certainly they're interested and they have shown a desire that they want to be involved. I would recommend that they also be involved. Without, I understand there won't be a vote. And how we get technically from 10 to 9. I mean, do we have any idea who
Well,
was last in, that kind of thing?
This is a good group of individuals. I mean, there are a couple people on here who I just don't know. But, just from experience, we have some really good people putting their foot in the ring. Chris Messier, he's involved in a number of different things as far as, he's served all different committees and everything. He's, pretty easygoing guy. If we have to eliminate someone, maybe we could just talk to Chris and say, would you be okay with just being an alternate or being eliminated? He's always willing to serve the town. He served on all different committees and everything. Rather than get into a fight amongst all of these names, that's a possibility.
Councilman, it would not be appropriate right now to ask for an applicant to withdraw or eliminate unless they voluntarily did it. You're here tonight to select a 9 out of 10, and I know that sounds horrible, but given the fact that there's no authority to allow you to appoint 10, you have to appoint 9, and if it has to be done by a roll call vote with each applicant getting a vote from the council, then you could have a runoff in case there's a tie. But my suggestion would be that if you're going to debate who's going to be removed, you might want to start with if there's a consensus regarding both the Democratic and Republican chair. At least you can get those 2 positions out of the way and then concentrate on the remaining 7 with the 8 other candidates.
So just to state, Mr. Boucher, I don't know if you were here when I stated that I brought forth that both the Democratic chair and the Republican chairperson should be appointed to this board, and Councilwoman Williamson said either appointed or not appointed. And we think it's fair that that we appoint the Republican chair and the Democratic chair. Did you hear that when I said that earlier? I think you're on mute, Chris. Oop, I lost him. Chris, can you hear us? I'm not sure if he can hear us. Mr. Boucher, wave to me if you can hear me. He's not waving. Hi, Mr. Gapo.
David, or Mr. Chairman, this is Dave Gapo of 580 Wakefield Street. I can save everyone a lot of time and volunteer to be an alternate. That would be just fine with me.
Can we, I'm not sure we can officially appoint an alternate at this point in time
Well-
from what the solicitor just said. I just quickly, thank you, David, for speaking. I just quickly went through all the applications. And they're all stamped in or submitted back in March. Actually, except for Chris Messier. He was submitted in October, and I know we put a call out because we thought we were short, but I think there was some miscommunication at that point in time. That's just, I'm not necessarily suggesting anything, but I agree with what John said. Chris has always been ready and willing to volunteer. And again, correct me if I'm wrong, people can participate. Are these closed meetings or can they participate in these meetings?
Absolutely public. And
Yeah.
I mean, as a public body appointed by the town council, they can go into executive session, but for the most part, their work is done in public, and the public is absolutely positively invited to partake and assist the commission in their endeavor to come up with some reasonable charter changes or
So-
amendments to the charter.
So let's go over something real quick, and I'm going to let each candidate speak. I know there's a few of them on here. Some couldn't make it. But let's talk about the responsibilities and our timelines. One of the timelines that we'd like to see is possibly getting this on possibly the all-day referendum. Timmy, that's where we can put on the all-day referendum as questions.
That's correct, Mr. President, yes.
So that's actually a few months away, which is May. So it will be time consuming, and it'll be probably numerous meetings. And so what I would suggest is, the first meeting, you'll actually have to probably appoint a chairperson. Go from there. Paula has copies of the charter, and she can either email that to you digitally, or she can give you a booklet of the charters. Paula, do you have 9 copies in town hall?
I believe so.
And we can get you the charter. And again, very time consuming, and a very short window of the second week of May, I think, will be the vote, on the third week of May, one of the two. And so you definitely have February, here it is mid-January already. So February, March, April, and we need to get those questions over to the state to be put on the ballot. So it probably will be a very hectic few months. So with that being said, I'm going to ask each candidate who's on here that I can see what they bring, because I personally, I know some of you, but I don't know all of you. And I'll start off with Mr. Frank Flynn. Mr. Flynn,
Sure,
tell us what you can bring to the table.
sure. Thank you. Well, my professional career, I was a teacher in the city of Cranston for 34 years. I've been living in West Warwick since 1983. I live on Pine Orchard Road. I've raised my 3 children here. They're all adults now, and I have a little more time on my hands. I still work. I'm currently the president of the Rhode Island Federation of Teachers, but I've been involved in politics in one way or another for most of my life. I spend some time at the State House. I see Mr. Williamson on a regular basis, but I'm involved in government and things of that nature in Providence in my earlier life, in Cranston, as well as in now at the state level. I've got a lot of organizational skills from my time as a teacher, and I believe I have good communication skills. And if you're looking for someone, I'd be certainly happy to serve. But If not, there are a lot of other things I can do with my time. So I thought it would be a good opportunity. As I said, I've raised my family in West Warwick, and now I'm always looking to give back. I've been well served by the town, and I think it's time for me to do something to support the town. And I thought this would be a good vehicle to do that.
Can I just add something?
Sure.
Frank would be probably my top pick. I've known him 25 years. A very capable individual. He would serve this board extremely well.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Mr.
John.
Gapo.
Thank you, Mr. President. After that, I think Mr. Flynn would be my top pick as well. And I appreciate, Mr. President, you talking a little bit about the needs. And unlike Mr. Flynn, I do not have a lot of free time on my hands. My job is very demanding, and I'm second guessing that I would have the commitment and the time commitment to this board. To be perfectly honest with you, it's very appealing to me to participate, much like Mr. Flynn spoke about. I've been here for 20 years in town and have been involved in quite a bit with you, Mr. Gosselin, as well. And, I really would look forward to it. But if there are other candidates that have more time to commit to this obligation, that would make more sense in my opinion. I'll give as much as I can, but I don't have 10 hours a week for the next 3 months to commit to this effort. I don't know if that changes the decision, makes the decision a lot easier for all of you or not, but that's the truth.
Thank you, Mr. Gapo. Mr. Raish. You're on mute. Oh, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Now we can hear you.
Okay, great. Yes, Matt Raish, lifelong resident of West Warwick. I currently reside at 80 Lonsdale Street with my lovely wife, Melissa, who is also a lifelong West Warwick resident. We have 2 children, Harper, who's a second grader at Greenbush Elementary School, and Griffin is our 5-year-old who will be in kindergarten next year, also at Greenbush. I currently work at Washington Trust. I'm a vice president and branch manager. I run their branch over in Oppenau, right over the line. I also serve as the treasurer of the board and head up the finance and investment committees for Tides Family Services, which is a local not-for-profit-based organization right here in West Warwick that does a lot of great work out in the community, heavily involved with them. In terms of my resume, I mean, I come from a family of folks that have really given back to this community, whether it be through work, through volunteering as, for sports coaches, on the political scene. And, in my estimation, it's really time, my time to step up to the plate and give back to this wonderful town that's given me so much.
Thank you, Mr. Raish. Mr. Bauscher, did you get your microphone working?
Okay, does that work?
That works.
Yes, it does.
All right, I apologize for being late.
Give us,
What you're
what you
asking
can bring
for.
us to the board.
Okay, well, I have been more or less a West Warwick resident. I grew up in West Warwick. I've been politically involved for a long time now. I'm currently serving as chairman of the West Warwick Republican Town Committee. In regards to serving on the Charter Review Commission, basically, I was asked, and 2, I think that it's important to have an objective point of view and to just essentially just be a voice for the taxpayers and for West Warwick residents in general. And basically, it's just essentially just to make sure. One of my concerns is in regards to the loss of sovereignty in regards to the town council and the school committee as well. because I've been coming to find kind of a tendency to become more and more dependent on the state and the federal government for guidance. And every town is different. Every town has its own unique idiosyncrasies, and no two towns are exactly alike. And so I want to retain the town's sovereignty and individuality. And also I want to make sure that we can create rules and mandates that are more conforming to the interest of the town of West Warwick.
David, you muted.
Oh, Chris, is that it?
Yes, you know, I come from 4 generations of West Warwickites. My great-great-grandfather came here and settled down from Canada. And so it's a long, long history. And I think it's a fine little town and I like it a lot. That's about it.
Thank you. I do not see anybody else in attendance unless Pappy Van Winkle is here for that. No. So going down the list, Mary Flynn Bergeron's not here, but she's been very active in the community. We know she is a part of the West Warwick School Department. Family's very active in the community. Mr. Baker, does anybody have any information about Mr. Baker?
Dave, yeah, I submitted Mark Baker's name. He had approached me last year. He lives in my ward, Ward 4. Wants to be involved. Is Joe Q citizen? Not involved in politics. Not involved in anything. Possibly sports leagues at one time, but just wants to put his foot forward and contribute. Which, you know, I've spoken to him about 3 times, and over the past 3 or 4 years or so, and seems like a decent guy who wants to do well, wants to see the town succeed, and I think he brings a different perspective than everybody else on the list, because he doesn't come from politics, and I don't know. I think he'd be a candidate. I think he'd do well.
Thank you. Just get back over to that screen. I'm playing with 4 screens here, so bear with me. Christopher Messier, we already went over. Felix Apollonia, Democratic chairman, very involved with politics and community, and keeps abreast of everything that goes on in the town. Christopher Black, and I think Mary Beth, you can probably speak best. I know Chris well between Cub Scouts and Boy Scouts, but if you want to speak on his behalf.
No, yes, Chris is very involved. He lives here in Ward 1. He lives on Wakefield Street. He's a chiropractor. He has been for, I don't know, has a practice since back in 1997. Again, very involved, very level-headed. Interestingly enough, I thought he was a Republican when I suggested and asked him to be involved, and he has become unaffiliated since then. But he's level-headed, clear thinking, is committed, has children in the school system, including special needs. So I see him at school committee meetings. He is involved, and he makes sure he's informed. So I would highly recommend that Chris be left on the list.
And then Jack Lancelota. Anybody who doesn't know Jack is very involved with River Point and the John Rock and the Patuxent River Authority, the John Rock Riverwalk and the Patuxent River Authority. Always been very involved, same thing, very calm, cool, collective. He can speak up when he needs to. Been around. David Gapo already spoke. Frank Flynn already spoke, and Matt Raish already spoke. Did I miss anybody? Keep me honest here. I think that's everyone. So council's thoughts.
I think
If you want to
I
move
think
one at a
personally-
time, or if you want to move all of them, that's up to you.
I think anybody that took the time out tonight to come out and be on this meeting should be appointed. And I'm not quite sure if we're at 4 or 5 but and I don't know a ton of people on the list, to be honest with you, but you know, time's important. And I think anybody here tonight should be on the charter review.
Well, I would say, you know, I agree with that, but at the same time, you know, there are people who are on the list who would serve extremely well, who may not be able to have made this meeting for whatever reason. You know, someone like Mary Flynn Bergeron, she's not available right now, but she would serve extremely well. I mean, she's been in the town for years.
Well, John, I think they all will. I think the remaining 10. I mean, obviously it stinks because one person's not going to be selected, but you know, when we had 13, I thought all 13 it was difficult to pick from because they all bring something different. So just because one brings one thing and one brings another, that doesn't mean it's good or bad.
Let me make sure.
You know,
I'm
I think.
Jay, like, are you saying if they weren't here tonight, they shouldn't be on the board?
No, I'm not.
Oh,
I'm saying
okay.
anybody
Then I
that's on the
misunderstood.
call tonight should be on. So if
Okay,
there's
okay. I misunderstood you. I thought you meant
4 or
if they
5
weren't,
that just spoke.
omit them.
So I think the person that's left off should be somebody that's not on the call tonight. So that'd be one of however many remaining.
I would agree with that, except for, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, David Gapo, you kind of, alluded to, you might not have the time to put into doing this. So that would be my only concern. So I don't know if David wants to add something to that, if he's still on the line.
I am, and I will. I didn't mean to say that I was not interested. I would just say I was making the point that if there's other candidates that can spend more time, commit more time to this effort, I can understand why you would choose them other than myself. I certainly am interested. You know, I do care about the town. I've been here for quite a while, so if I was appointed, I would give it all the time and effort and energy that I have, that I could commit to. Yes. I hope that answered your question.
Okay, thank you.
And I agree. The fact that, David, you're here speaks volumes. And you're right. Just because somebody's not here doesn't mean, other than it might mean that they have other things going on in their lives that may prevent them from being involved on a, John, you started off by talking about Chris Messier and how involved he is. He actually was the last, and I like Chris a lot. I know Chris from school committee. I've seen he is very involved. But he was also the last application in, and it was in the fall. I don't know if there is that makes some sense that, it was later on that he expressed an interest. I don't know.
I would agree if it's that simple, just, him being last, we've often, looked at date stamps and things to that effect. I mean, I would be okay with that. I think he would be okay with that.
But again, I would recommend that he be involved, that he be actively involved, just like Alan and Rick. I think we would welcome as many opinions and thoughts that we can get. It's just that we're limited to 9.
Yeah, and I would also caution that whoever the one is that's left off, to keep your phone open, because a lot of things can happen in the next couple of months. So that's all I would caution. If you get left off, it doesn't mean that we don't want you, and we very, very well may need you anyway. So
I agree with you,
hope
Jay.
that these people are willing to participate. I didn't know about this zoning rule. I can say that I served with Alan Horick for a period of time, and very intelligent man. He's very level-headed. I haven't served with Richard, but I've watched the meetings. So, I mean, if these people are involved, we've got a good committee if they're willing to do that and not necessarily be a voting member.
I think somebody should reach out to both Alan and Richard. Because I know Rick had thought he would be in the selection of the 13. And this was just done tonight. I think somebody should, Dave, I don't know, as the president, maybe you should let him know. It's kind of last minute. I mean, because they put their applications in over a year ago.
Yeah, and again, I will reach out to both of them, and I'll also let them know that they can participate in the public meetings if they'd like.
And we'd encourage it.
Yes, so I have no problem doing that, and whoever the third one is that we need to decide, I'll also let them know that, hey, you're on standby, but when the coach calls you in, be ready, because you just don't know.
We just appointed him to the recreation committee last month, I believe.
Chris Messier?
So he is involved. Yeah, Chris Messier, he's involved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is the timetable that they're going to be estimated to be starting this? And obviously it's going to be via Zoom, just like this.
So here's what I was thinking of doing. I was going to have Paula, on behalf of the council, reach out to everybody who was appointed tonight and share some nights that work best for them, because obviously they have to figure out what nights work for them, whether it's Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, whatever it may be, and a time, and we'll get the first meeting scheduled, and that'll be part of their first agenda, to appoint a chairperson and who's going to run this group of individuals. They can set their meeting schedule and their timelines, and we can get firm dates for them as far as when we need to have the questions over to the state, and that'll be Paula's job to get those questions, well, Paula's office to get those questions over to the state.
I think that makes sense. And I assume that meeting, that organizational meeting will be held sooner rather than later.
Yeah, and I think we can, Paula could put that email together tonight or tomorrow morning, get it out to them.
I don't think you have to do it tonight, Paula. Sorry. I'm just saying, Dave. Yeah, that might be unreasonable.
I don't have enough to do tonight.
Hey, Paula, I'm working till midnight, so aren't you?
Yeah.
Listen, I've been
Well,
here
maybe
till
you can
1
put it
o'clock
together.
before.
I'm doing reviews.
All right.
Dave,
Yes.
is there something? Is there some sort of guidelines for the group to follow?
Bylaws per se. It's been over 10 years, and I try to remember, Sean Hensel and group was on there, and it was just basically going through, and if I remember correctly, because I attended a couple of those meetings, because it was my first charter change as a council person. One of the things I know they did, they went page by page, line by line, and they talked about what needed to be changed. And one of the things I can point out that it's been brought to our attention numerous times, everything refers to a mayor, and maybe it needs to say mayor/town manager, because that way there you can avoid if we ever go back to a mayoral system, or if we stay, it covers both. There's many different things out there. And I know when we first started this, there was some individuals that kept coming to the council meeting who were bringing up charter issues and charter language. And I know we tried to put them on this board and they backed out too. So it's basically, you're going to be working from the book or the electronic copy, and you can look at the wording and change that wording. And then those are the questions you'd have to put on the ballot. There could be 50 questions on that ballot. Who knows? It all depends on how much the charter review decides to change.
So does anything come before the council, or is it just like another board?
If I may, Mr. President, the Charter Review Commission, whatever they decide to adopt as an amendment to the existing charter, those issues will come before the town council. Then the town council would approve what they want to see on the town council. So basically, the Charter Review Commission will be making recommendations to the town council, and the town council will have the final say.
Thank you, Tim.
Any questions, any further questions from the council? Any further comment from the candidates? Hearing none, I would need a motion.
Are we making a motion to move each of the names? Is that what we're doing?
We'll do it as a group.
I would say, I'll tell you what, I'll make this motion. You guys can decide to second it or not. I make a motion to appoint Christopher Bauscher Mary Flynn Bergeron, Mark Baker, Felix Apollonia, Christopher Black, Jack Lancelota, David Gapo, Frank Flynn, and Matt Raish
A second.
to the
Wait a second.
Charter Review Commission. Any questions or comments? I have a second.
Yeah, you did. I second.
No comment? I'll take a roll call vote. Councilman Licciardi,
Yes.
Councilman Messier,
Yes.
Councilman Williamson,
Yes.
Councilman D'Amico,
Yes.
and I vote yes. Congratulations, ladies and gentlemen, and good luck, and we'll be getting in contact with you. Paula, if you can email me the contact, never mind, I have it in their applications, and I'll go from there, and I'll do that tomorrow morning.
Thank you.
Thank you. And then Jay, if you don't mind moving into executive session, and just for the record, anybody who stays on this meeting, it's still active and live. So whatever you say is being recorded. We'll be going into executive session and coming back into public session later on.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Is anybody making a motion to adjourn?
He's gonna make the motion. Don't hang up, Jay. Oh,
Okay.
ready when you are, Jay.
Executive session?
Yep.
Okay. Under section 42-46-4 and 42-46-5A1 of Rhode Island General Laws, Town Council will convene into executive session in a closed meeting to review the applications and interview process of the town manager.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Let's go on to the other link now.
What other link?
There's
So,
another
so
link.
there's a
next one.
second link. We have to move out of this one, and there's a second link that we got, Jason.
Sunday morning.
All right.
I'll resend it to you, Jason.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I think I may have it.
Wow.
Yep.
You
Panel
got
for town council. Yep. Okay. Yeah, I'll call in right now.
Okay.
All right.
Hey, Jay. Paula, you can try calling me again. I was on the phone with one of the council members.
Yeah.
Everybody's coming back.
And you thought it'd be real late, Joe. Come on.
No. Tonight I wasn't too worried. It's next week that I'm saying it's going to be a marathon.
Don't cook that night. Just get takeout.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, John isn't watching This Is Us.
I'll have to tape.
Oh, actually, it's tonight. Tonight's the first night, isn't it?
No, it's
No,
not.
it was last week, right? Or 2 weeks ago?
Oh,
No.
I
Yeah,
don't
last
even
week.
know.
It was
Where's
at least
Paula
last.
go?
It was at least last week because I know when I ran into your wife in the store, John, she was ready. She was getting ready for your night of watching it.
Yeah.
It's too depressing.
What
Hey,
do you
where'd
watch?
Paula go?
Paula called it a night. I talked to her earlier.
Can I ask
I'll
a quick
take-
question while I have a captive audience? Should I get Bill Dolan for executive session next week? Do you need him for any of what you want to talk about?
I don't think so. Save our money. Does anybody else have any?
Yeah, I can't imagine that. No, probably
I
not.
mean, I'll take notes and compile. I just didn't know if you anticipated needing any guidance from him, or if you're just going to kind of come up with your list.
A couple of lists first, but we are being recorded right now, so just we're back in public session, so I want to take a roll call vote. Councilman Licciardi,
Here.
Councilman Messier,
Yes.
Councilwoman Williamson,
Here,
Councilman D'Amico,
Yeah.
and Councilman Goslin is here. Jay, if you want to close the minutes.
Sure. Under section 2-46-4 and 42-46-5A1 of Rhode Island General Laws, the Town Council is closing the executive session that was held tonight that reviewed the applications and interview process of the town manager.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Go ahead,
actually,
Mary Beth.
I think what we need to say is that there was a vote taken to table that agenda item to review. Because that's actually what happened. There were no,
So you're gonna seal the minutes, and then in public, you're gonna address the
vote.
issue of the tabling.
okay, I'm sorry.
So, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. And for the public record, town council met in executive session, and we tabled
What are you watching? Take a
the
seat.
process and
Not on the
the
couch.
applications.
Sit on the stairs for a second.
Any other comments from the council? Hearing none.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Enjoy your night.
Good night.
Good night.
Aye.
Thank you, guys. Thank
Good
you.
night.